You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass, Marni Batista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So, if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your, stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Life Check Yourself with Chris Gillis. How to ask for help when you're in a mood. Ladies, welcome. We're still in the den, even though we're life checking ourselves. And oh my God, I'm here with Chris Gillis because our girl Michelle, she needs to life check herself. I mean, there are so many things that we are going to talk about that are really showcased on this show, The Bachelorette.
And it's one of those things, Marni, that it's one of those things like you're, and some of you gals maybe in your life are like, oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's one of those, it's fine sort of things. And then Marni and I were chatting about it. Like, no, shit's not fine. There's a lot of things that are going awry that look fine socially. And so hopefully we dig into these things that aren't there's these like not so subtle giant thorns in our shoes that maybe we're ignoring.
Yeah, I think the first thing is, okay, let's just talk at the beginning. There's a date with a dude named Martin who anyway, he's scary to me. I don't know, I just don't like him. He's not my type. But Martin,
I read Martin looks like if all five members of NSYNC were one person.
Yes. Oh my God. But like in 2021, right? Because he's got like the nose thing and the ear thing and the eyebrow. That's what I was noticing. Okay, look, everybody has a type, and I bet there's ladies who are listening like, oh my God, he's so fucking hot. But
yeah, right.
What I was looking at him, and I think this is an interesting thing about just people who try really hard. I feel like that dude is like, let me pick every possible thing that is a icon. Like I want my image, and this is important, ladies. I want my image to say this about me, right? This is the first impression I want you to think. And so he's like, okay, so I'm going to get my ears pierced. I'm going to get my nose pierced. I'm going to have a tattoo on my neck. I'm going to bleach part of my hair. I'm going to do the eyebrow thing. I'm going to do the razor thing in my thing.
Eyebrows, shave my Chris hair.
Yeah, which is like, again, it's not like, I know there are people into it, but the thing that just is, it gives me a weird vibe is like, if you ladies show up on a date and let's say you want people to know that you're successful. And so you show up and you're like, you have your like, red bottom shoes, and then it's obvious that you have a purse with a like Dior giant ass thing. And then you're wearing like a diamond bracelet and you're wearing a Gucci shirt and you have this amazing blow dry and like you just almost look so one way that you're and we have a stylist on our faculty who talks about this all the time. And she says this, if your image shows up before you do, you're hiding in your clothes or people shouldn't notice what you're wearing. They should notice you in your clothes. And it's a distraction. And that's, for me, Martin, that it's distracting. Like I was literally forcing myself to not look at his accessories and be like, who is this person? But because his style or his image is showing up first, I found it super, super distracting. So the tip, ladies, is have your clothes or your style showcase you, not have your clothes be so noticeable that it covers up who you really are.
Totally. What do you think? What are your thoughts on dating a Mr. Tryhard?
I never liked that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not attracted to Mr. Tryhard who's got to show me all his things.
He's got so the guy version. Yeah, by the way, it's so interesting because you're listing off all these things. We don't give a shit about all these things that women. I'm going to put the bag and the Birkin and the red bottoms. Like, we don't.
They don't. Yeah, it's so weird.
And the same thing with the girls. I have a friend a former friend, one of my quarantine, I was able to whittle him out of my deck because he's not a great human being, but he was so extra try hard. Had to have this stupid the giant Prada was it whatever the fuck, a Gucci Prada belt or whatever it is. It always had to have a shirt tucked in so you could see the giant logo on there. The watches, he would go off about how much each all these different watches on, and these stupid loafers, and it was all in the end 100% insecure because or to cover his insecurity for he was a shorter guy and didn't shaved his head and one of those dudes, and oh my gosh, and I knew eventually. Even if a chick was, I thought that was cool at first. Eventually, like you said, your real personality is going to come out, and the bling bling is no longer going to be impressive.
Yeah, and it's like it's a lot. So that was distracting for me to like really see Martin for who he is. I didn't really see Martin, but what I did know is that in this experience, and I think this is really important, because I think it happens in real life. If you date somebody who, we've talked about this, if you date someone who knows someone else that you dated, or maybe you didn't, or a friend and you're not friends with that friend anymore, and this person is friend, if you're dating in a smaller community and what happens is in the show, she just basically is like, I don't like this dude. And the dude is a friend of Martin, and Martin is like, defending him a little bit, but not really. I think Martin did a good job. He was like, hey, listen, as a dude, he was fine. I don't even know, him being in a relationship. I just met the guy. He's fine as a dude. I felt like Michelle got so overly defensive.
Yep.
And here's what I'm going to say, and I think this is the theme for the show.
Let's go.
I always talk about people leaking their insecurities. We call it leaking your unconscious 10%, the part of you, your little childhood woundings. And I mean them little, not they're insignificant, but from when you're little. And Michelle is coming on she wants it to look this certain way. And you said she's got the dress and she's got the makeup and she's set up to be one woman for 30 guys. And her insecurities are just blah, all over the place. And so you could just see herself, you could see her shutting down.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, what? I mean, I thought she was going to kick him out of the hot tub right there and be like, you're out.
Yes. It's her power. And some of you gals, listeners may relate because there's a lot of power. I've met your clients, a lot of very powerful women who don't get told no a lot and hear shit. They're in control, and that's it. Yeah, I notice that when she feels she's not in control, she gets it's almost very insecure, and she gets mean and it seems like she's really starts to close down. And I wouldn't have been surprised either. Yeah, if she just kicked him out of the hot tub. It's almost she kind of puts on that whatever second grade, third grade, fourth grade teacher, whatever the fuck she is, and kind of almost punishes everybody, puts her name on the board.
Yeah, she's like, I feel very good about my decision. I'm like, he never said you made a bad decision, and that's I think what people do, and we talk about this, ladies, all the time, is your idea or your position isn't automatically on trial. Yeah. Right. And so when we are in a place where we feel like we weren't listened to or we got told that we're wrong, we overcompensate and get defensive. And she was like, well, your question. And he was like, no. So it would have been real interesting to see how that whole date went, how they got out of that situation. Because what happened then is they cut to their little dinner situation. And oh my God. What? Red fucking flags.
Where?
Okay, so
him.
Well, both of them, but him. So yeah, she's like, oh, basically they're talking about emotional intelligence, talking about your feelings, and this guy straight up says, I'm bad at talking about my feelings. I don't like talking about my feelings. My family didn't talk about my feelings. I've been doing this for 28 years. I don't know how I'm supposed to learn to talk about my feelings. Then she says, well, in a family, how would you want to raise your kids? He's like, oh, I definitely want to talk about my feelings. Okay, like instant, like, oh yeah, when I have kids, suddenly I'm going to start talking about my feelings. And also, this is really interesting, ladies. God, I wish we could do a play-by-play like I was John Madden or Frank Gifford.
Yeah, you do.
Because or Aaron Andrews, because she says he's being vulnerable. She's like, oh, thank you for being so vulnerable. But he's really not. He's really just saying, like, I didn't grow up with feelings. He doesn't say, like, it really scares me. Like, I'm afraid I would. He's just telling the facts. And she's like, oh, now I like you. You have shared something about yourself. And I just didn't feel like that was real vulnerability. And I'm like, she is emotionally unavailable. That dude is emotionally unavailable. I mean, he just said I am. And so then she likes him. And that is what you ladies do. You're emotionally unavailable. And a guy is basically saying, like, I cannot ever give you what you need. And you're still like him. You kiss him. You give him a rose. Ugh, made me so mad.
Is it a red flag when a dude, I've never encountered this, I don't know, maybe I hang out with a bunch of pussies, but a dude who says, I've never cried, like we weren't allowed to in my family?
Yeah, no, so I'm saying, like, dude has issues. Like,
Lord.
And does he even know before the show that that's like, does he want to work on that? Does he want to cry? Or does he just want to fucking win the show?
Yeah. Gosh, I think there is a correlation between the Mr. Tryhards and the Mr. and the closed down feelings and not something. Yes, like it's almost like if you get distracted enough with all the lines in his hair and his eyebrows, you forget to go deep. And
exactly. Exactly. And again, I am like so out of like popular culture. You know that. Like I'm not on TikTok. I don't know.
Okay. Yes.
I am. And so I don't know what that like. That style, let's just call it a style. It's a style, right? An image. I don't know.
Avatar.
Yeah, that avatar. I don't know them. When I was a kid, it was like if people wore all black, they were like this goth kid, and they wanted you to think that they were like edgy, or they listened to indie music, or they were like the Breakfast Club. Did you ever see the show, The Breakfast Club? Right? And there was like the hood, like the bad guy. There was the jock. There was the girl who was shaking her dandruff out, who was kind of goth, right? And so I don't know like what he's trying to say with his style, but if he's trying to say like back off, right? Like I'm unapproachable. I'm a badass. It makes sense that he doesn't cry. He doesn't talk his feelings. And all I can say, ladies, if you're on a date, I like the topic of conversation. Great to have that topic. If a guy is saying, like, I don't talk about my feelings, I don't know how to talk about my feelings, don't go out with him again. Don't go out with him again.
So don't settle for. So she immediately took the bait as like, oh, but that's something I want to do. She's like, oh, okay, cool, all good. Oh, and then of course he very cleverly dropped in like when that kind of future pacing, like when I have kids.
Then I'll do it. Suddenly, I'll talk about my feelings.
Yeah. But that was clever of him. But he is kind of like what he's got. He's like the final like fuckboy boss you have to defeat in a video game or something. He's like, he's got all the
it's so
accoutrement and pickup artist swag going on.
Yeah. So that's my little tip is that if a guy basically tells you like you don't fall for the potential, and that's a big mistake women make is they fall for the potential of a guy. And yes, Martin could change, but Martin's not like, yes, I realized like 6 months ago, I don't cry and I'm not really connected to my emotions and I've been really working on it. A la, like, I can't even think of, the guy that, Zach, that Tayshia dated, right? He's like, I used to be an addict and it was really hard for him to show his feelings. But then he was like, but I've been working on it and I really realized that I need to open up and he can do it and he wants to do it. And so that's my tip for that. Don't fall in love with potential.
That's true. And, and to the listeners who've been with us, it is, you're right. We were all hating on Zach because he was closed down until like the fucking fourth quarter, last 2 minutes. Then he opened up and he became, then he became vulnerable. And that's when we were like, oh my God, remember he gave that epic, like speech about her and like, shit, he did talk about it and he owned it differently. And I think it is worth pointing out, I'm not in love with a lot of the dudes on the show, but I don't hate Martin. I think you're right. I think he's just not. It's going to be a problematic long-term relationship.
He's a boy. He's a boy.
Yeah,
he's a boy.
He's still growing. He's not. Yeah, absolutely. Leave him in the oven a little while longer. Don't. He's not ready to be engaged.
No, God, dick a fuck.
But seems like a good dude.
No, and, that's what I'm saying. Like he's just he was being honest, so I give him that. Okay, let's talk. We have to talk about the fucking slumber party. Oh, the slumber party. Okay, so here's the thing. So they have a group activity, and basically, imagine you're at the dance. You're at the dance, you're at the bar, you're at the club, and there's a bunch of guys, and they're having a good time, and they're like showing, like they're like, look at my fantasy football thing. And they're like, whatever, and then they're getting drinks, and then they're like talking, and you're standing there, and you're like, why is no one talking to me? Okay, so basically, we've all been in that situation where you felt like a little invisible. So that's what happened to Michelle. She's at a party. They have all these cute activities, and the boys basically don't talk to her. They all just talk to each other, and they're doing their thing. And she makes that mean she makes that her words are, "I'm not seen." I don't really get what that means. To me, I'm not seen means you're not listening to me. Like I told you how I feel like 14 times, and you keep not hearing me, and your behavior doesn't change. So I don't feel seen. Michelle's using it as like, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, as like, I'm not getting enough attention.
100%.
And in an article, she said, I didn't want attention. I wanted connection. Okay. But it looks to me like you were pissed because the boys weren't giving you enough attention. So my question to you, Chris Gillis, is,
let's go.
If you're those guys and you're in the bar and you're like, hey, bro, my fan, oh my God, no, like, oh, right. Yeah, right. And like, oh, yeah, right. Okay. And the woman is there, or maybe there's one or two. Is it that you're just not that into that? Are they not that into her? Are they just being dudes? Is it that, like, is it their job to give her attention? Like, because I've been that woman where I'm like, I'm not inserting myself here. It just feels so super awkward. These guys are having such a bro moment.
Yeah.
So what's the bro? What's the dude?
This is the bro moment. It's in true fucking Bachelor fan where they try to, or genius production, they try to like please everybody. So like, and it'll be funny, and and put the guys in a kind of an emasculate situation. What they do, so they put them in their pajamas, and we're going to have a slumber party, but we're going to do it the way girls do it. But then here's the stuffed animals. Okay. And then of course, here's the twist. Now you guys go back to being masculine gorillas and beat on each other.
Yeah, exactly.
They forgot they were all wearing satin little undies and their linens. And then they like, oh yeah. And then of course these two dudes do. They're like, okay, so they got in the playful energy, and they're like, okay, now we'll play Warhammer and all like bash each other with turn our bears into weapons, weaponize our bears. And so yes, babe. And this was so fucking annoying, because then she's like, I can't believe I'm all hurt. Dude, you turn these guys, you got them into war mode. And now we're not thinking about running over here. You telling us that the only way to win, babe, is to get attention to you is to beat the shit out of the other guy. Of course so yes, man, our minds switch over. We're simple guys. We can't hold a ton of different sub goals in there. And so like, okay, our guys to physically dominate another opponent. So yes, so we're not, now they're switched over, not in this, I need to go make a male female love connection. When it's my turn going up, no, you're nervous. You're like, oh shit, okay, I'm about to go to this mini fake battle with another guy. So that's so dumb that they were not failure.
I know, but they weren't giving her attention. Even like they were way more into the girly slumber party stuff than.
I think.
But do you think they're not? Do you think they're not into her, or do you think they just got distracted?
I think they actually are I think they are into her, and I think they got more distracted. And again, not to make fun of my male species, but we are like dumb dogs, and you rattled the kibble bowl, and we're getting like,
yeah, exactly.
They were more excited at the time for sure about wearing polyester or silk and then hitting each other over and not losing and not embarrassing. That was 100% top. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, well, and then they're like, "Oh my God, I'm getting a spa day." Like it was like, they're like, "This is lit, man," or whatever they said. And so I think that I think that Michelle could have joined in and been like playful about it, right?
Yes. Yes.
And she didn't. And I think that what happens, and this is the theme of the show, of leaking, is that because she is viewing every single thing through the eyes of you didn't pick me. And I think, and what I know about you, not like pick me energy, is universal. It knows no sex, color, race, nothing. If you feel like you never got picked, you never got loved, you never got chosen, you're not important, that is universal. And she always got picked first for basketball.
Hey. Someone didn't get picked at all.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's a fucking horrible feeling.
And I never got picked at all either. And so like she found her place, but so she makes it mean that if she's not getting attention, like 100%, that she's not important, that she's not lovable, that she's not worthy. And so I always say to ladies, like, you have to be very discerning on like what's your side of the page and what's a guy's. And, like if you get triggered and it's your shit and you're like, oh, I was at this bar the other night and I just felt like my confidence went because like there were all these guys and, or I was at a networking event and I felt like everyone was talking to everyone except me. And then I just felt like really shut down. So I left, like that's a you thing. Right. And so sometimes you don't need to say that to the people that you're with. You need to sort your shit out and go back to the club or the networking thing and just be confident. And so what she, but if a guy was like directly ignoring her and she'd be like, hey, when we were talking the other day and I was trying to tell you how I feel and you kept looking over at your phone, it made me feel unimportant and like disrespected. Okay, that's on the guy, totally. And what I'd like next time is for you to just say, like, I really want to hear what you're saying, and I'm also expecting a call. So both things are true. Like I just need you to know that. Both things are true, right? So but in this situation, she has this like whole cry fest, like, oh, I'm not important, I'm not seen, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't picked. Fair enough. It's her shit. I just don't know if she needed to jump on into that whole like after thing and tell the guys like, you were bad boys. You didn't make me feel pretty. You didn't pick me. You didn't give me enough attention. She doesn't say any of that, by the way. She says it in a, her own way about not feeling seen. And it comes off as heartfelt and it is authentic. That was her experience. But do you think that she needed to say that? Like, do you think if the guys would have stepped up or given her attention at that little small party, if she didn't say that?
I think you said something earlier. I think what she could have done is catch herself and say, I think this is something I have written down on, this is my side of the page. I like that metaphor. This is my side of the page. It's been here before. I guarantee this isn't the first time. Obviously it's not because she wrote it in her poem. First time she hasn't, she's felt unseen, and to take stock and say, now is this true? Is this really true before swallowing the hook of, the painful hook for not being seen? Or is this a story that I've been carrying around and maybe it's not? Let me take a little bit of do a quick little survey, get some evidence. And then she could have, like you said, walked up to the dudes, getting the cucumbers on their eyes. If she wanted a foot massage, if she wanted to practice and warm up with the dudes, because she's an athletic gal. Maybe she want to swing around feel how heavy or how hard it hurts getting hit with a teddy bear. She could have done that, but no, she didn't investigate all to see if she was included.
She didn't. And even in that thing where the guys were like, which was so masculine, they're like, hey, hit me in the stomach. She could have been like, like, wait, here's how it's going down. I'm going to punch you all in the stomach.
Yes, dude.
Right?
Yes.
Like, she was like, oh, okay, never mind. And she walks away.
I'll just soak here into the bench and get smaller and smaller and have fucking Tasha and Caitlin
make me feel better.
What's wrong? Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Like Michelle.
Whoa.
I'm so mad at Michelle. Can you tell I'm so mad at her? I'm just mad at her because I'm mad at her because I want her to sort her shit out. Like, I'm mad at her because, and this is like the best thing ever for all of you who are listening. She is really pretty. She is very smart. She's very good at what she does. She has all the opportunity in the world. And her issues, her insecurity that started when she was a kid, for whatever reason, is not handled. And she is missing out on amazing opportunities. And that's what ladies do all the time. And so I think if she would have gone to like a coach or a therapist instead of Caitlin and Tasha and said like, wow, I totally got insecure. I made this shit up and like, I need to sort my shit out. Like, I am a confident woman. These guys came here for me. She pulls her shit together. She goes to that little cocktail party. She's like, hey guys. And then they all would have had those conversations with her. They all would have tried to flirt and connect with her. But she lined them up, like you said, like, this is my story. And then, of course, they all want to win. They all want to get it. So they pulled out, and this is, we have so many things to talk about. They pulled out the V card, the vulnerability card that we talked about last week. And, you know, the guy who cries the most gets the rose. That's the story. Like,
that's the masculine, by the way, ironically, the one who is like, punch me in the stomach, swollen.
Yeah.
He's like, punch me in the stomach, feel how hard I can get it, blah, 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 blah. And that's, that's what made me so, quote unquote, mad about her too, is that instead of taking this as an opportunity where she could have just shared it. It didn't have to be fucking right or wrong. If she just would have, instead of lining them up, and if she wanted, you know, if she would have lined them up instead of like, hey, I just want to let you know, this is how I was feeling. I don't know what was going on, you know, and it's something like, hey, it's something I want to work on, like Sync Boy could have said.
Yeah,
you know,
this is something I want to work on. Yep,
I want to work on because I'm an imperfect person as well, and you know, and I bring my own history and stories into the relationship as well. But nope, she didn't. It was like, hey, this is what, like you said, this is what you did wrong. Everyone gets an F until you extra credit for the teacher. Who's next? And she lined them all up. I hated seeing all that.
Exactly. Because what happens is when we get small, when we feel insecure, when we start feeling uncomfortable in our own skin, our energy actually says, don't come hang out with me. So she was part of perpetuating her invisibleness, because when you feel small, your vibe is small and people will not see you, not give you attention, however you want to say it. So I think the guys were just like, what the fuck? I thought that was fun. Okay. So I don't know. I think a really strong, emotionally intelligent guy would be a pink flag. If you're a guy and you're dating a woman like that, do you think it would be a pink flag? Like, maybe it's the first time, so you're like, oh, okay. I don't know.
I think so. And, you know, for a lot of reasons. And the major one I've said before is like, man, guys, we're not great at relationships and we really need some guiding. And she didn't do a good job guiding us into, it's on, you know, Martin and Olu to figure out, well, how do I give my woman what the hell, what she needs and what she wants, instead of her, she's got to at least, you know, write the prescription. He can do his best to go fill it, but she's got to at least tell him what's really going on here, instead of saying, oh, it's you. It's you. That's just confusing. That's going to be bound to have more problems of her being seen. And that, she's going to, you know, permanent marker, rewrite it into her page of her journal over again. I am unseen. I am unseen.
Yeah, she's really just hammering that. And then God, and you know what's crazy is, and I bring this up all the time because I just think, you know, your ex-girlfriend was such a great example of a pick-me insecure person.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you're not with her anymore. And because ultimately, and you've said this before, like the first time someone's like, oh, I don't feel seen, or you didn't pick me, or didn't give me enough attention, you're like, okay, babe, like, let me work on that. And then there you are like 6 years later, and you've said like, I could have sat there and like looked her in the eye for like 27 days straight and catered to her every need. In the end, she'd be like, oh, it wasn't enough. Yeah. And so I'm concerned. I'm just concerned for her overall. She's got a little Claire Crawley. It just looks better.
I see it. Yeah. Yeah, it's like little better editing and makeup and sequence dresses and.
Well, she's 27 or 26 or however old she is instead of 40, right?
Yeah.
So it just looks a little better.
Oh, it's interesting. So you're saying that I kind of agree with you. Yeah, it's still kind of cute. When your puppy pees, it's cute. When your 7-year-old dog pees, it's not cute. It's fucking annoying.
It's fucking annoying. You're so good. Okay, let's talk about this last thing before we have to hit the deck here. And this ties. We're circling back to your image, and I think that Michelle has a lot of masculine energy.
Agreed.
And she's navigating it through being dressed up in a feminine way. But I think that, and I screenshotted a photo to you, which again, I can't show you, like, if we were on the football after show, where she's sitting with her legs apart, her forearms like leaning forward, like you see an athlete sitting on the bench, in like the fourth quarter, and you're like, fuck, we are like gonna lose. Like this, I'm so sad. And she's sitting on the bench and she's talking to Caitlin and Tasha, and she's like, whatever. And I was like, that's just that masculine energy. And it's like, I want her to be really athletic and good at sports, and also be able to find some femininity somewhere, because it's part of her stay away vibe. It's probably part of her friend zone vibe. It makes her kind of unapproachable a little bit, like out in the world. So I don't know. I mean, do you sense any other sort of masculine energy from her besides that screenshot that I shared with you?
Yeah, a lot. And it's worth doubling down and pointing out, anyone who knows Marni and me, we're not saying one's good, one's bad. Yep. We all have mixtures of both.
Yep.
And we take turns stepping into one realm. And the guys were getting their pedicures done, and I was all good stuff, and then beating each other up. So on and so forth. But so yes, I do think that her. I think what's problematic is that her when she is feeling down, her masculine energy turns up.
Yeah.
And therefore, guys, we respond to what's out there, and we respond to okay, my bros. He's on the bench. He's having a hard. You don't fucking go over there and like, I don't know, start asking a million questions about his feelings when he's on the bench and he's super pissed off he missed a shot. No, you either just slap him on the ass or on the head or whatever. You don't say shit, and that's just how guys move. And that's what I think she's getting more of what she's like baking up, cooking up more of what she says she doesn't want when she enters that masculine frame versus being being open and being approachable, like you said. When she's feeling, when she needs it most, she's not opening up to the guys, so they're not knowing, my woman needs something. The guys are having a tough time reading her, I guess.
I think when you were talking, I was like, yes, that's it, because even Clayton says like, I guess I just have been kind of playing it safe, but I think he was sort of like falling on the sword, maybe unnecessarily, because I think you're right. I think she's not like being flirtatious, and they don't know where they stand, and they also, Caitlin said, can't believe I'm quoting Caitlin. She said, like, these guys have a nice connection and they don't want to like step on each other's toes, right?
Yeah.
And so, so I think that coupled with the fact that like they're just not really getting a lot of flirtatious vibes, they're kind of standing back and waiting. And that's what people do. Like, men need like a signal, ladies. And I think we get so worried about being overly flirtatious or giving the wrong sign or being bad at flirting. And then if a guy doesn't know where he stands, he's just going to kind of do nothing.
Yeah. And when she gets an experience involving a guy that she doesn't like, she does embody that scary masculine energy, and she gets like a mean face on.
Yeah.
And that turns us into little boys, and we're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
We're in fucking trouble now. Let's all line up outside the principal's office and say apologies on what we did wrong.
Oh my God. Did you get in trouble? You just are really having a lot of you did not like school, did you?
I hated some of the little tattletale bitch boys, which is the white knights on there who would always, there was some things I didn't do great in it on there. But I didn't also, and speaking of image, I think it's complete bullshit that she is a basketball tomboy chick. That's rad. It'd be super fun to hang out with her. But but on the show, she's wearing, heels and fucking ball gowns, and has her hair and her makeup done to the nines. And I can almost guarantee you she's not going to look like that more than a day or two out of the year once she, if anybody drops to me and proposes to her.
I totally agree, because I would like to see pictures of her, and I don't have Instagram, but your homework is stalk her on Instagram. I wonder if you go back far enough before she was famous. If is she wearing ball gowns and shit?
Yeah,
that's your homework.
Okay, it's confusing, and maybe I thought that's a take-home message. Girls, don't confuse us. We're simple. We're not that. Don't give us too much more. Don't get more credit than we deserve, and make it. You got to just spell it out to us. What it is that you want. What is it that you need? Who you are. We can't decipher all this bullshit and realize, okay, hold on, you are a dude, or you do want to be left alone. You're sitting on the bench like that, looking angry, but you want us to come. Make you feel vulnerable and seen, and how to do that, I don't know. Give us a fucking instructions. Just tell us what to do. 1 or 2 points at the most, because other than that, we'll get confused.
Yeah, oh dear Michelle. So, and then she goes on the date with the restaurant boy. What's his name?
Restaurant boy.
Not restaurant boy.
Pizza boy. Pizza boy's gone.
No, not pizza boy. The dude who showed up to the freaking first impression with his head on a fucking table.
Rick with the permanent under eyeliner.
Yes. So I don't even know what to make of that date. I mean, she ends up making out with him. It seems like a good date.
She took his V card. She took his V card.
And he was vulnerable. She loves that. She's like, oh, just tell me shit.
Quiet, you little bitch boy.
But I liked him. I thought he was good. Yeah. I thought their date was nice. Yeah, I like him more. But I felt like he will never give her what she really wants. I don't think so.
What did you see in this type of guy? What we know little about, and oftentimes when girls are dating someone, they don't know much about it either. What makes you think that? What can people watch out for?
I think that, well, here's what it is.
Be honest.
I think that she wants someone who understands some of her pain. And for better or worse, right? Like her own lack of belonging. I think that's she's just really important to her. Is that, and that's like a shared value. Like, so I think, and I'm not criticizing it at all, because I always tell people, like, figure out what your non-negotiables are. And I think that there is some like value around that. Like, I don't know what it is. I'm not going to make it up for her, but there's something that he just doesn't have that, that she seems to have. And so,
that is astute of you. That is very. I think you're onto something. Because again, you're right. The formula that she is like, hey, tell me your problems, and wants them to be vulnerable and cry. And of course, without her, she's not ready to shred the waterworks, which is interesting. But yeah, she likes when the dudes do that. And then there is always. You're right. There is like this beautiful, finish and closer when they're like, okay, well, we'll work on things together. And it does, you're right, it does seem like almost, instead of her, and this we said it, instead of her being interested in figuring out her own page, she's like, hey, let's do the homework together. She does seem to want somebody who is the same homework, ideally, that they can work on together.
Yeah, and I think, and that's fine. So I think they had a nice date. I think she likes him. I think they're being open. I think he was vulnerable. I think that turns her on. But I don't know. I think she likes somebody
Nate?
who's Nate. My daughter's boyfriend's name is Nate.
It is.
Nate. And so
Nate, how funny if she picks, if I gave you all this does all this show and ends up like getting engaged to the dude who lives up the street from her, Joe or whatever name is.
Oh, I know. See, I feel like, I don't know. And maybe, I don't know. I literally don't know. But Lord, this was like, I was like mad while I was watching this. And I really do hope that, and this is why I love the new name of our podcast, because I think that we outlined some really important points during this show that women need to check themselves on. Like, are you leaking? Are you over communicating stuff that's on your side of the street or your page that is a guy doesn't, it's not his problem? Are you having masculine energy? Are you picking guys who are really vulnerable, or are you picking guys who are just telling you what you want to hear? Like, I think there's a lot of like little milestones in here to like really check yourself and just make sure that you are dating from really your healthiest whole essential self versus the part of you that wasn't picked when you were a kid, which is like the great majority of us. So that's my story.
I love that. That example. I love, leak your side of the page. And then you use the words leaking. And I'm thinking of homework. So I remember so many times when I would, write something on my side of the page, and I keep the pen on there too long, or I rewrite it over again, and it leaks through the other side, and you can't tell what side is it. Yeah,
and that it makes it really, really hard, and it's something to work on. Christopher, it is always my pleasure. Maybe on next week I know you guys had a party. Maybe we could watch at the same time.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Because watching alone makes my heart hurt.
It's not as fun to talk shit by yourself.
It's really, really, really not. Ladies, whatever you do, life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP, that's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes, and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Batista, and let's talk soon.